Good evening, and welcome to the Thursday, April 25th meeting of the Planning Policy Commission. Tonight, we are going to review the TIP, which is the Transportation Improvement Program, and our leader, Gary Costa, is going to run us through the changes and things that are happening in the TIP. So, Gary, you're on.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm here to present the 2014 to 2019 six-year transportation improvement program that we bring forward annually to you. This program, or the TIP, needs to be adopted in order for the city to be able to use federal and state and half-cent gas tax funding on our projects. Just recently, this last, or a year before last, the federal government passed the Moving Ahead for Progress in the 21st Century. This is the new bill that carries forward the transportation program. And in order for us to be able to use funds from that program and also use the Transportation Improvement Board funding, TIB money, we also need to have this in the projects in the TIP. The Moving Ahead for Progress in the 21st Century Act was enacted July 6, 2012, and it's called MAP 21, and it authorizes the federal surface transportation programs for highways and highway safety and transit. The process that we're bringing forward, the 2014-2019 TIP, is the first step is coming here today to the PPC. May 2nd, we're going to be making a presentation to the Chamber Government Affairs Committee. Then we're setting a public hearing by agenda bill on May 20th, then presenting to the Utilities, Technology, and Environmental Committee on June 13th. Following that, then public hearing on June 17th. Once that's done, then we're completed. Just submit the TIP to PSRC on June 21st and to WSDOT on June 28th.
Gary, I have a question. Would you explain to whoever's watching, this is the 2014 to 2019. How often do we go over the TIP, and how does it change every year? How, you have a 6-year plan. Does it automatically every year become another 6-year plan?
All right. So we bring this forward every year, and it's for a 6-year period. And this period is for starting next year, 2014, up through 2019. So every year we bring it forward, we look at our projects that we had in the TIP last year, and depending upon what got budgeted, those projects, if whatever didn't get budgeted, will be moving, will be carried forward to the next year, or we go through a whole priority process again when we do the CIP, Capital Improvement Program. And this basically is the exact image of what we submit in the CIP. So it's part of the CIP. We prioritize the projects, and then the order that we put them in the CIP, we're bringing that forward here in the TIP.
Oh, maybe you're going to cover it there. I had seen 20 years. I was wondering what.
Okay. So enhancements to the TIP occur by, well, a few years ago, we came up with these various items. We've incorporated some charts that I will be showing that cover the safety, capacity, and, well, actually it's concurrency. That should be taken out because we're not really doing it based on concurrency anymore. We've included a 20-year period that's called the future years. The transit and transit supporter programs used to be in the TIP, but City Council has taken that out, and that's put into our operations program, our operations budget that gets budgeted every year. So they continue to budget for Route 200. That's relating to the free ride, the fare box that we pay every year to Metro, and it's also including the support for the Transit Now, mainly the Route 269 that we're funding, and we haven't started funding yet the Route 200, but we're still looking into that. We're trying to get new partners because we've lost a partner, and so we need to try to make up for that loss of that partner. So we have not implemented the Route 200 Transit Now yet. And then we have the non-motorized work that includes our Complete Streets program, where we add bike lanes, sidewalks, crosswalks, and audible ped signal devices. Does that answer your question? Okay. Then the input that we get into the TIP comes from various sources, such as the requests from public that we get throughout the year, the goals from City Council, from tonight, Planning Policy Commission, the Chamber Transportation Task Force that we'll be bringing forward. This is an error here. Council Transportation Committee, that is actually the UTEC. That didn't get changed, to miss that. And then carry forward from previous years, and then anything that comes up at the public hearing at City Council. So this is the list that's in front of you that you have in your packet. There are 21, well, this lists 21 projects. Actually, there's going to be 2 slides to get everything on here, I think. Maybe this is, no, this is not on. Okay, yeah, this is, first one was 1 through 21, and then this is the 22 through 35, excuse me. And I'm just going to, what we did is we listed the, I'm going to go back a slide. I have to get my glasses on. So basically, projects from 1 through 25 have been there before, and actually 26 also. That was in the TIP last year. But 27 through 35 are from the Central Issaquah Plan that were recommended. And we've placed those in the future years because we haven't really had the opportunity to really work through those, and so they haven't been prioritized in with the rest of the projects. Then these are listings of the projects broken out by categories. We have the traffic analysis traffic programs, which include the neighborhood traffic calming and the Newport Way corridor analysis. Then we have the roadway improvements, or roadway investments all the way through project number 32. Then we have the roadway overlay, and then that's for maintenance. Then we have the non-motorized improvements, and the last one is the bridge improvement, Dogwood Street Bridge.
I guess this is a dumb question, but how did you prioritize that those were the things that needed to be pushed to the top? What was the driving force for those things?
Let me get to that slide that has the priority rankings. This is the listing of the projects by shows roadway capacity, transit supportive sidewalks, and non-motorized. It's a multimodal project comparison. And so we just basically describe or show which project fits in which category.
So when you noticed Gilman Boulevard, I don't see it, I don't remember where it was, but it's no sidewalk, for example. That doesn't mean that there's no sidewalk at that location. It just means that you are not doing any work on the sidewalk as part
Are you
of the
referring to the
improvement.
Gilman Boulevard Safety Improvement Project?
I don't remember which one.
Okay, we'll find it here.
Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, number
9. Yeah, that project is to we have a problem with the short left turn pockets that are in the medians, and so when people try to make a left turn, sometimes they're halfway sitting out into the through lane. So basically what that project will do is to close some of those left turn pockets up, and we'll identify locations for U-turns, and we'll then construct adequate left turn length pockets for that.
So
that doesn't do anything. It's a safety improvement for the traffic on Gilman.
Right. So generally, if it says no on the sidewalk, it just doesn't mean there's
That's
no
because they're
sidewalk. It just means you're not doing work on the sidewalk.
It means that we're not installing sidewalks. The project doesn't include
Right.
sidewalks.
Okay.
Then this is the rest of the projects through 35. So this matrix is basically showing what description or category the improvements are basically providing. they're cap capacity improvements, if it's related to non-motorized, or maintenance like overlays, to safety, drainage, operations, transportation demand management, planning, and parking. And so you can see where what is, what area of is being what relates to, I guess. And this is the rest of the projects up through 35. Then a couple years ago, PPC asked to show, how the projects fit with the various phases of the projects. So this slide shows when the project will be designed, constructed, and when right-of-way is necessary. And so you can see how it relates to the other projects and the timing in the year that they're shown. That's through 35, and all these are out in future years, so nothing really to show there. And this is the comparable of the projects in the comprehensive plan and what has been completed to date. And again, this is the rest of the projects relating to the non-motorized corridor improvements and the projects that were completed in 2013 and previous years. When you're asking about priority, this is where the priority legends and how, well, first of all, at the bottom of the screen are the descriptions of the various elements that we prioritized. So basically 0 through 9. And on this screen, but basically we looked at each project and determined whether or not the project was, for instance, number 1, grant funding, competition, financial partnership. If we felt that that project had a good chance of receiving grants, then we put a 1 next to the project. If we felt the project was a traffic safety project, then we would put a 2 next to the project. And we just went through the whole list with those legends, those names, and then we just placed them at the top based on how many numbers they had, the criteria numbers that they had. We placed neighborhood traffic calming at the highest because that's a program. The programs we placed at the highest, so overlay program and the complete streets program. And then the ones that we felt that had higher benefit based on number of criteria that we see they're meeting, then we place those the next in line until we get down to this next screen around project number 26. Projects after that were from the Central Issaquah Plan, and we didn't really place those in any priority order.
What is the status of the Black Nugget retaining wall?
As far as we know right now, that there's nothing else needs to be done on that. That's why we've put that out to future years. So it seems to be fine.
I don't know if you're going to go back to that, but there was a question from Connie on the comp plan, whether I think she was concerned that the list here was not the same as the list in the comp plan.
Right, and one of the, for example, one of the ones in the comp plan, in fact, the comp plan, my list hasn't been updated since 2008. So we need to go through and put the central plan ones into the comp plan that we just approved. One of them, for example, is the Maple Street extension that goes over the creek that the council has recently taken out of the Transportation Improvement Program. So that one would come off the list. The SR 900 one that Connie specifically mentioned is a state project. So so it's not on Gary's TIP because we wouldn't be paying for it. So there are reasons that they're different, but the answer is yes, that we would be updating the comp plan based on the newest TIP and the newly adopted central plan. Good question.
Yeah. And basically that ends my presentation, and this is the map of the city showing the various projects, and I can just take questions that come up.
Anybody have questions on the, I love how you've done it with the purple are the future years, and I love the legend on, it just helps you understand which ones are coming sooner than other ones and where they are, if they're in your neighborhood or if they're in a place that you drive around a lot. It's neat to see.
And we also added the year in the where the project is
flag.
located, and also under the description of the project, the name of the project, we placed the year when that would be anticipated to be constructed, excuse me.
So, one of the projects I'm particularly interested in is the North Issaquah lid. Can you give an update on what's happening there, if anything? And the reason I am is because it's a nightmare to walk or bike around there.
Okay, sure. The administration has delayed going forward with the resolution to set the public hearing for the preliminary assessment roll. So that's so that we can get out a little bit more information out to the public and also to the business owners that are impacted in the LID. Mm-hmm. So it gives us more time to do a little bit more work on that. And currently, once the LID is formed, we have a good chance that we'll be applying for grants, and so hopefully, those will come forward. We got TIB. That sounds like a good option, but there's some good improvements that will provide benefits for the modes.
But there's no date at this
No.
point for the LID to be.
Not yet. Well, it's being delayed about a year.
Okay.
Gary, T18, which is the improvements to, from Lakemont to the state park.
Northwest Sammamish
What
Road.
could you possibly, what would they be?
What would the improvements be?
Yeah.
Bike lanes, sidewalks, street lighting, typical improvements to bring it up to city standards.
But how, there's no space there.
Well, that would be a challenge. That's why the project's fairly expensive. But right away would be necessary. Probably some retaining walls to be able to make the space. Be up against the wall along I-90. In some places there is enough right away that would present enough to provide the improvements. But
Any other questions on the map? Any
Guess
other?
it would be nice if it were all done.
yeah,
Well, yes, that's
we would like
true.
that.
We would love that. We just need a magic wand.
Do all of these improvements conflict with what is suggested to go forward in the central area plan? Do any of them, are they?
Conflict? I don't think they conflict.
No.
No. Okay.
No, we worked very hard with Public Works and Gary to make sure that the roads that we, and of course, he helped us with what roads and connections we needed. So it was a good collaboration.
That's my big fear, the central area plan, is just that the roads all work together and we actually get a reasonable flow through.
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay.
Other questions for Gary?
He answered all mine.
All right.
Well, maybe just to follow up on that. So there isn't any projects here that is, for example, building a road without a sidewalk, or at least in the next few years, that wouldn't be consistent with the multimodal, the approach of the central plan that recently, and I always hesitate to talk about that area because I don't know the name of the streets, but the post office cut off there, which was completed fairly recently and doesn't have adequate sidewalks and bike access. So is there anything else along those lines in the near future?
Well, when we do a project, we'll make sure that it meets our standards. So that includes sidewalks, and we also have to meet ADA. Mm-hmm. We're starting out on an ADA transition plan, so we'll be identifying where those ADA improvements need to be made. And so, I think with the standards that we have, that we'll make sure that they meet the needs of the community for non-motorized.
And is the reason, that, if I remember, the undercrossing didn't have sidewalks is because the trail is right there?
Exactly.
Just a little bit away?
There is sidewalks on one side, but because of the trail,
Okay.
yeah, we didn't put sidewalks on both sides.
Okay,
There are sidewalks on both sides, part of it, but not all the way.
okay. I remembered there being something about the trail and the decision to do it the way it ended up.
Right.
It's not very convenient.
Right, when you're actually
connection.
walking, you know, you
Part
kind
of
of
it
have
is
to.
you're already coming out of the street that then goes to Fred Meyer and Starbucks there.
Right.
There's no sidewalk where you already risk your life there.
Right.
And then you have to go and kind of go around on that.
On 62nd.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's part of the LID.
right, yeah. And
Right.
it's, I mean, a lot of people walk around there to go from one business district to the other. And, yeah, so any improvements would be.
At the time when we did the I-90 undercrossing project, we didn't have the right-of-way for adding the sidewalks along 62nd, so.
So you do the best you can. I have a burning question. Well, people keep asking me the same question. When is the trail going to be done along
Yes.
East Lake Sammamish?
They're getting ready to pave. So I would say another couple months, 2 or 3 months, I suppose.
That's summer.
It's-
Well, it's probably sooner than that. I just don't, I'm not familiar with the schedule where they're at, but I can tell they're looking at paving soon.
yeah. It's a King County project, right?
Pardon me?
It's the King County project.
Yes, King
which
County
is,
project.
I would definitely encourage everybody to call and complain about the fact that all those trails have been closed, even though no work is happening. It started at Bike to Work Day last year. It's the first time I noticed I couldn't go anywhere. I had to go ride my bicycle on the street. And it's still being closed and no work is happening there, so.
Well, there actually is work. I mean, they've been
Yeah,
paving it,
but
so it
they've
looks like
closed
it's
everything.
close, but.
They're getting close.
but-
They closed everything to do section at a time instead
Yeah.
of, it would never be allowed if it was a road to be doing that kind of,
No.
the inconvenience for users.
Right.
So Gary, do you have anything else?
Pardon me?
Are you done? or
Yeah, I'm
you-
done.
You're done. So any other questions? Are you confident that the way they are prioritized, look at safety and any other issues that will cause consternation? Are you satisfied that we are to go forward with this? Ray, do you have anything to add? So the next step is.
You need to make a recommendation to the council on it.
Yeah. So basically, I need a motion to make a recommendation to the council.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes, and thank you, Gary,
Great,
for the
thank
work
you.
that you and your cohorts do on trying to make traffic better in a city, in our city. So with nothing else on the agenda, unless you have some updates on,
Do we need to approve the minutes or not? You know,
Oh, that would
Oh.
be great. Hey, yeah, I forgot all about that. But yeah, the minutes would be great.
okay, so again, do any of you have any comments on the minutes? We forgot to approve the minutes.
I move to approve.
Do I have a second? Do you want to,
You want a minute?
do you want to wait and approve them at the next meeting, which I don't know when it will be?
Because Carl, Ray, Fred, Joan, Chantal, Alina, and Peggy were all there that night, on April 11th. So any of you.
I looked at all the rest of the materials. I didn't
Oh,
look at
okay.
the minutes, so I'm not comfortable approving them.
Okay, so we don't have enough of a yes vote to approve them, so
can
shall we
abstain.
continue on to the next, just forward them on to
Just
the
forward
next
to the next
meeting?
meeting? Okay.
Sorry.
You can do that. That's okay. You know?
Are there any other,
Anything else for the good of the order?
yeah, nothing else to go to the order? Ray, I know you want to say something.
I'm looking at Connie's questions, and I'm not sure that they got answered.
Well, we were going to answer them if you wanted to go through them one at a time, but we thought we'd leave that up to you all, whether,
I'd like to see answers, yes.
okay, well, then we need to get Gary back up, because we had asked before you got here that, you know, they all had gotten the letter, and did they want Gary to go into it? And they said, well, we had a couple questions, but not the whole thing, so that's how we proceeded.
And Gary actually answered a couple of those questions. So if you still have questions, I think, you know, even though we've approved it as is,
Oh, for some reason, I never got the material, so I feel as if I'm just sitting here.
okay.
What materials didn't you get?
None of it.
You didn't get the
None-
packet emailed?
I did not get the packet, no.
Because it didn't, because it
We
didn't,
were
yeah,
out of
it's always
town
a
for
week
a
before.
week, so I don't know what.
Okay, because
so,
if you don't, I email them a week before, and then I say, if you want a paper copy, let me know. I mean, you know, so I can either mail it so you get it, or I bring you one. So I'll make sure that's in bold in my, and I think too, I'm going to make sure that I get RSVPs from everybody, just so I'm not
Yeah,
frantic.
we were gone a week ago.
Pardon?
We were gone a week ago. We just got back
Okay.
yesterday.
Okay.
Okay, well, you know, if anybody has questions on what we just approved, I think they should be answered. So, Gary, if you would like to go back up to, no, you're not done. You go back up to the, you're on the hot seat again.
Ray wants
Ray
some
has
of
some
your-
questions for you.
Well, Ray wants to ask some of your questions.
Okay.
Ray, you're on.
But just going through the list, the key question is why the dollar overrun?
Why the what?
The dollar overrun.
What dollar overrun?
What dollar?
From
Oh.
57 to 57 from 31.
Oh, okay. When we first originally worked on the project in 2010, we were doing a feasibility analysis, and as we carried forward into design, our design got to be going into 30% design. We got to get more information, and standards changed, and so things changed as we got into design. That's why the cost went up.
Anything else?
Well, it's a pretty general answer, and I just wondered what specifics changes occurred and why the money was spent.
We haven't spent any
Nothing's
money.
been spent. It hasn't been started yet.
Yeah.
Why the estimate increased that much? I mean, what did you learn that you didn't know before?
Well, there were a lot of things, and
The one that I can think of offhand is with the central plan, we required sidewalks and bike facilities that weren't included in the first go-round, and so we had to figure out the cross-sections to add that mobility to all the streets, and I know that added.
that was the biggest thing.
That added a lot,
That added a
because
lot.
our standards, we wanted to be sure we got the newest standards in the estimate, so that was a big change that I know of. I'm sure there were other technical things that you guys know about, but as a planner, I know that's what changed it, the number in a big way for us.
It's better to know what a reasonable cost is actually going to be than stick with the 31,000, then find out your $20 million, 31 million years, whatever, $20 million over budget, and where do you find it when you're in the middle of the
Well, we're
project?
not over budget.
Well, I
mean, with
know.
the project increase.
Right.
Because of various changes that occurred throughout the whole process. And
No, I understand that, but it's better
Yeah.
to know that up front before you
Right.
start a project than.
Okay, I
when
think you were asking, where's the money going to come from? If you're
Someone
not
said
asking it, I'm
transit.
asking it. I mean, usually when an estimate is made and all of a sudden it goes up, the money's got to come from somewhere.
All the money needs to come from somewhere.
Right, well,
Exactly.
That's the reason for
Exactly.
an LID as well, is you assess the properties that that benefit from the improvements. So you want to get the number right so that you assess them right, so that everything is a fair payment kind of a thing. It's not all the city's money. It's a local improvement district that the property owners pay as well, which is why it's being deferred for about a year, is because we're still trying to get all the pieces in place, because it's quite a big puzzle with all the property owners.
And we're looking at ways of reducing the cost to the LID through grants and other sources.
Are we talking about sidewalks that are going straight through even in the undeveloped areas, the areas where owners own property but they haven't developed it yet? My understanding is that previously, the sidewalks didn't have to be built until the property was developed.
Well, the North Issaquah LID, most of the properties are developed, except for where the overcrossing goes over where Darst Park is. In fact, the numbers on here are where the, like, T4, I think T30 is one of them, but they're all, you know, it's the Costco Pickering area and then connecting over to where the storage, I always call it the King County Storage Facility because they approved it, the storage facility on.
The library?
Is that
No.
61st, 62nd? The skinny street that Brown Bear is on?
221st.
221st. And so it's all the improvements in there, and they're mostly all developed. So the projects would come along as we're able to pay for them. But they'd be paid for by all the property owners. Does that help?
A little bit, yeah.
Other questions for Gary? Did you have any other, Ray, on Connie's list that you wanted him to answer, or me to answer? Item number 3 is easy because we don't do concurrency that way anymore, so there haven't been any projects in the concurrency model since I think about 2005. We asked Torsten that today. And so he said they're not in the, once council took the future reasonably paid for funded question out of it, we didn't put those future projects in anymore. So they're not in concurrency. So that was 3. And we answered the comp plan one that Chantal asked. We talked about priorities, which was 5.
The question about concurrency was from the conversation at the concurrency meeting, indicating that they might adopt some projects to put in a concurrency model.
Oh, in the future? Okay. But these aren't in, at this point, in the existing model. I don't know what they'll do with the future. I'm not sure if they know what they're going to do in the future, but.
Did we talk about number 6?
That's a good question. That project at Trader Joe's and Target is private.
So that's a private driveway issue because of the shopping centers, and they are actually looking at making some improvements there. So that would be something that would have to come from them through a permit. It doesn't need to be in the TIP.
Oh, it's a public street, but it's
Well, public street, our right-of-way is functioning perfectly. There's nothing wrong with it. It's there. It's because of the uses off the driveways that are generating the trips. And so they know that they need to, or that they would need to do something with that to make any corrections, and they're looking at that.
Right. Anything else?
Nope. Well, we don't have, no more questions, and we've already approved the TIP as written, so.
Okay.
Is there
Right.
anything else that needs to be discussed tonight?
I don't have any.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
You guys can
Twice.
continue on with the details. We didn't mean to
So with
interrupt.
that, I'm going to call the meeting, end of the meeting at 7:10.
Wow. You guys are really good. Maybe we should just have PPC be this small. Just efficient, get through it.